Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2025 Chevrolet Traverse High Country. Now, I got to do the media drive for this Traverse, and we got to drive the Z71 and the RS, but I think we might have found a nice sweet spot with the High Country. So let's go ahead and get started. We get started in the front, and yeah, I want to mention the color, Lakeshore Blue Metallic. This thing is awesome. Now, I was a massive fan of the kind of maroon color. Forgot the name of it. I'll add it down here, and I'll show you a little example. That color was spectacular. It stood out a little bit. It was a little bit unique. It's not for everyone. This, though, if you're wanting to stand out, but in a subtle way, just have some nice... So, first of all, the amount of flake is incredible. It has kind of a grayish blue, sometimes a little bit of a hint of purple. It's just a really beautiful color. So I am loving this color to the point where, yeah, I'd question if I'd want that other maroon color or if I want this. So really loving this. But the front end, super aggressive, super in your face, kind of truck-like feel to it, which is nice. Yeah, I love it. I love it more over the previous generation, which was a little bit kind of smoother, more minivan-ish look to it. But loving this. We have the kind of eyebrows or the faux headlights, because this isn't really the headlight. Down here is the headlight. So great output, even though they're tiny. Had no issues with that. With this being the High Country, we do get a little bit of chrome trim right there. Same thing around the headlight bezel. Then we get the black lower part, which I love. I love the fact that we have like some black accents in this. So big fan of it. Again, well, front facing camera. Yeah, so we have the front facing camera here for the 360-degree system, which has been very helpful because this is kind of a very big boxy front end. So I was just making sure, especially don't want to hit anything down there. The camera system was great. The turning radius was incredible, which you guys will see. But loving this front end, and yeah, super aggressive, really cool looking. So let's go ahead and see what's under this hood. We get under the hood and we have the 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder turbo engine, and it is cranking out 328 horsepower and 326 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to an 8-speed auto, and this one is front-wheel drive, but there is also an all-wheel drive option. Now, yes, we got rid of the V6 and we now have a Turbo 4 in this, which was a big sore spot for many Chevy owners that were wanting to upgrade. Same thing with the Colorado. Yeah, I hear you. But this 2.5 is actually pretty good. Now, the 8-speed though, the 8-speed first gear does run a little bit longer. So even if you're accelerating a little bit, it does take a little bit to kind of get it to switch into second gear. So just be aware, you'll kind of feel that a little bit. And the power, it has to rev it a little bit. The torque does peak at 3,500 RPMs, which sounds about right of where it was kind of holding to then shift to the next gear. But as far as drivability, it's there. You hammer it and it can get this big guy going. So we still do have the numbers. Yes, it's not coming from 6 cylinders, it's coming from 4, but the power is still there. Loving that. Now, as far as the fuel economy, we are looking at 23 miles per gallon combined, 20 city and 27 highway. We've been a little bit on the heavier footed this week, just to kind of get things going, errands, things like that. And the dash is showing about 21, 22 on there, with a little bit of 21 right now that we kind of did our filming, and a little bit heavier footed. But it's been pretty good. I bet if I weren't in a rush sometimes or anything, I can probably, or more highway driving is really it. We could probably hit that 27 mark on the highway driving. But yeah, love it. The sound, it's okay. It's not anything exciting, but turbo felt good. That's really it. I mean, there's nothing really bad. Oh yeah, front wheel drive. this does have the front wheel drive option, and you could kind of spin the wheels. Even at 22 inch wheels, you can get these guys going. So that kind of will kind of attest to the fact that this can still deliver the power. Now we do have the all-wheel drive option, which I drove in the RS and in the Z71. The Z71 has a different variation of the all-wheel drive system based on, you know, it having to be more aggressive for the all-wheel drive. But yeah, that felt great. It does feel like it rotates a little bit more than this. Again, with the little bit of time that I got to drive the all-wheel drive. But if you don't need it for your area, yeah, just go with this and with front wheel drive, and you'll be definitely happy with the amount of power that this can put down. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and we have this massive 22-inch wheel. Yeah, and it is wrapped in the 275/45 Continental cross contact tire. Now, a couple of things with this. Yes, we have a big wheel, and we still have a good amount of sidewall. Yeah, so loving that. First, the wheel design, really cool. Like I said, big. We do have kind of this polished face, but with the black insert there. Love the design. No issues really complaining with that. And again, with this being a big wheel, typically you're wondering, well, you know, hitting potholes, things like that. Didn't feel it. The Continentals really absorbed those bumps, and you know, we still have a good amount of sidewall. The road noise is pretty much non-existent with these. The grip is pretty good. No complaints with that. You were getting the feedback. It's a big, heavy vehicle, so it will kind of tell you, you know, you'll definitely feel it if you're pushing the tires a little bit more than you should. Which, yeah, it was just a rare occasion of the filming where we were just doing that, just pushing it to its limit. But yeah, it's a good package. Now the brakes, yeah, you're gonna have to give it a little bit more pedal, because this is a very big, heavy vehicle, and the brakes kind of look a little bit on the small side, but they have a good size to them. It's just that the wheels are just so big. But yeah, pedal feel was great. Just, you know, just make sure you give yourself more distance for stopping. Suspension was spectacular. So I mentioned this was the sweet spot, and that's because the RS was on the sporty side, so you definitely felt the road more. The Z71 was on the softer side, and we felt it kind of sway a little bit more. High country, I love this. I love this. We get a little bit of both. So we still kind of get a little bit of flex regarding, you know, absorption and things like that. But we still get to feel the road, and we still get kind of a sporty feel. So yeah, like I said, I'm kind of liking this over the other trims. But let's see what we have on the side. We get to the side, and this thing is big. It's a nice size. I think it's a good big. So it's not something that's overtly just massive, but it's also not small and compact. So loving the size that we get with this. And yeah, that blue color just looks great, especially when the sun isn't hitting it, and kind of this little area here, it just darkens up so much because it's more of a shadow area. But it looks really, really nice. Overall though, I like the proportions. So let's go ahead and talk about the front. So the front is kind of a stubby nose kind of look to it, but it still sometimes can feel a little bit on the long side, but not in a bad way. We do have a nice angular hood, and then comes over to this more softened fender with a then sharp line there. And we do kind of get these fender covers on there, which are nice. We have it in the gloss black, which then translates down to the bottom of the Traverse, and then to the back fender there as well. So it just looks really good. I love the fact that we get that black line there just to give us an accent, just to kind of break it up. Honestly though, a black roof would be awesome. I would love to have that with the Traverse, especially in this color. So yeah, we'll see. But we also get, speaking about the roof, we get the roof rails at the top if you need additional storage, which honestly, yeah, there's a lot back there, which we'll take a look at. But we also get the Traverse badge, which is in chrome. I would have liked it in black because it would definitely match the other accents like we get in the black mirror, which has the 360-degree camera system underneath. Has been such an awesome system, especially having come from Equinox EV last week, which is a little bit smaller, to now the Traverse, which is a little bit bigger. So it's been easier to park this. Actually, I think it's probably been easier to park this than it was the Equinox. So that's just saying something. Don't be afraid of bigger SUVs, because this thing can really turn on a dime in a small parking lot with no issue. But we get the chrome framing at the top for the windows, and then we also have the rubber black parts at the bottom. We get the shark fin, which I'm a big fan of. Cool little design. Now I have the key in my pocket, and I'll go ahead and reach the door handle and pull, and yeah, it doesn't open because we have to use the little button, which we go ahead and open. Nice big door, easy to get into, nice height to it as well. And then we can go ahead and close this off, and then we push the button and we're locked. We get to the back, we also have the button, so we can go ahead and open up. My kiddo can open up, he can get in and close, or he can get out, and we can lock without him having to kind of move to the front if I'm holding things. So small little detail, but it's always such a great thing, especially in a people hauler or family vehicle like this. You want to have this small little detail for just those little conveniences. But yeah, that's kind of what we get on the side profile. So let's go ahead and see what we have in the back. We get to the back, and we get kind of Ultimate Warrior vibes with this rear taillight section here. I like it. Again, the blue looks great. Love this color. And let's kind of get started from the top. We get a little bit of a spoiler at the top, and we do have the rear view camera system, which has been on 99.9%, except when that 0.1%, when I wanted to show my parents, hey, take a look at this, and it's actually a camera that you're seeing and not the actual reflection. So that's to say that it is a great system, and you want to have it on all the time. And then we have the rear glass, which has the wiper back here. We do get the taillights. These are awesome. I love these because we get kind of a frosted white on the outside with the texture on it, but we have the red shining through from behind, so it softens it up. It looks really good. Again, I love the design. The black framing around it is really nice. Then we come over to kind of the middle section where we have the license plate tub here. The missed opportunity with the black Chevy badge. Yeah, definitely get it with the black Chevy badge, because it'll just add to this awesome black trim that we get with this. And same thing with the Traverse badging that we get down here, and the High Country. And then we get to the bottom and we get the really nice looking things like the black lower bumper area and the quad tips. Yeah, I know it's a 4-cylinder. I know. I get it, but it does look nice. It does give a nice little design to it. I love that we get the square exhaust tips on it. This is pretty much, yeah, it looks good. Now, I don't have my key fob in my pocket because this thing, so if you watched the other video, this has the approach system where it will go ahead and open as you approach it. Now, in the vehicle that I got to do in the media drive, it took me a couple of tries. I'll be honest, it took me a couple of tries to get it to open up. This thing has been way too sensitive, I think, to the point I think if I were to own one, I would probably turn it off, but then the couple of times that I had it were really, really needed. So yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about it, but basically I would come around the back of the vehicle and it would want to open up. And it wasn't that I was stopping or anything, I was literally just passing. So I think maybe give myself a little bit more distance from it. Now, I'm over here, and let's just say I got out of the vehicle, went ahead and locked it, and I'm gonna go ahead and walk around, and yeah, it's already sensing me. Yeah, that was maybe a little too, like I said, a little too sensitive. And what do you guys think? Was I walking a little too slow? I don't think I was walking a little too slow. I think I was just walking normally, but that's what has been happening pretty much all this week. And yeah, you still have the button, you still have the key fob that you can open it and close it and that stuff. So yeah, I should have left it open. So let's go ahead and show you what is in here. Okay, so let's see how close it will take for it to activate. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay. Okay, now I have to be super close and it recognizes it, but when I walk past it, it opens up. So beyond those frustrations, we get something great. We get a lot of space back here. This is my new bag, which is super big for literally pretty much all my camera gear, and I can actually put it the long way and it fits. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. With the third row up, that is the big thing that this has. And yeah, we go ahead and put it down. Oh yeah, you gotta kind of hold it. I think the second row is a little bit back, but anyways, we get a good amount of space when we put them down, and we can also put down the front ones. The second row, let's see if we can get it to go down more. Oh, that's right, I have my child seat in there. That's what's stopping it from going down. But anyways, yeah, tons of space, loving this. Again, I can just toss that there with no issues, and we do get a kind of a cover path here, so would definitely be something that I would need for. And then we open up and we get even more space, a ton of space down here, which is really nice for just all the kids' luggage, things like that, everything that you would want to really put back here. So 3 rows, actual functioning storage area, which is good when the back seats are up. Yeah, and we can close it, and that's what you get in the back. We get to the door, and this thing is nice. So there's a couple of things. So starting at the top, we do get this material, which is nice and soft, but it has a texture, grippy feel to it, which is good. And then we get the trim, which has kind of a carbon fiber look to it. With it being the high country, we do get it in a like super dark gray, black. Think of it like just like carbon fiber color. So yeah, I don't think it is carbon fiber, but it's got the print and it's got the look to it. I like this more than I do in the RS, which kind of forces you to be in red, and it wouldn't really match well with that color there. So yeah, unfortunately, there's no, yeah, you get red, but in the high country, thankfully, we get a more classier black color there. And then we get the white interior here, which looks and feels really nice. Yeah, just kind of be aware. You can see a little bit of staining already happening, so you're gonna have to get a good cleaner. I'll tell you it's worth it because it does look really nice and classy. We have the controls here for the lock and obviously the memory seating as well, and we have the window controls there as well with the mirrors, little cubby here for maybe your keys. And then we have the opening here for water bottle. And if you take a look, you can actually fit 2 water bottles kind of laying on its side there. We do have the option to open up the rear opening there. And we have the Bose system, which has been pretty good. It's been pretty good. Nice and loud. We've been blasting our tunes, enjoying our ride in this. But yeah, that's kind of what you get with the door. We get to the seats, and these things are really nice. I love the way that they feel. We have the finish, which is, yeah, in white. Again, not a big fan, but it looks really good in this. So it's hard to kind of argue with my typical white seats are just going to get dirty. But yeah, just get a leather cleaner, like I said, but they are really nice. The adjustability, don't really need much because they're just so nicely shaped. But yeah, we have a good amount of adjustability though, to kind of get that sweet spot. The other thing as well is yesterday it decided to be and stay at around the 40-50 degree weather. So seat warmers were nice. And then today we decided to go up to 95 degrees. So not to worry because we had the vented option as well in these. So they are perfect for any crazy weather that you may experience. And like I said, they're super comfortable. Oh yeah, this thing vibrates, so if you are backing up and there is someone there, it will warn you by vibrating. And yeah, make sure that you don't accidentally hit whatever is kind of in your behind you. We get to the wheel, and this thing is really nice. I love it, the feel to it. So the material is really nice and soft on it. On the side, at the top, yes, we get this plastic piece because this has Super Cruise. So yeah, the High Country has the Super Cruise already included. And I the second vehicle in a row for 2 weeks that I've had. So the Equinox EV had Super Cruise, and this had Super Cruise this week. And I can tell you, I am loving not having to drive on the highway and letting this thing just kind of control. So loving that. And then on the left hand side, that's where we have these controls there for the wheel. For the cruise control settings, we can see our Super Cruise button to activate there. We'll come back to this button soon. Then on the right hand side, we have the controls for the gauge cluster and like heated steering wheel, voice activation, and your music source there. So yeah, this gauge cluster is a little bit of a sore spot for me because I don't like the way that you have to kind of get a setting here and then send it over to this. So not a super big fan of it. So, but the wheel though, it's really nice. I love it. I love the way it feels. And yes, we have okay, let's talk about the paddle shifters that don't work unless you are in the limiting. So yeah, you basically, if you use the L, it's going to limit the gear to shift into, so it's not quite like a manual mode, which I would have really liked to have instead of having to, just kind of limit the next gear it can shift into. But other than that though, love the wheel and love the way that it feels. We get over to the gauge cluster, and this is what you get, and it's really nice. But I hate the way that you get to change those panels on the left. Because again, like I said, you gotta go through the infotainment system and then send it to the left side of the gauge cluster. You can also put it like this, where it has kind of like your distance or your gap for the car in front of you when you're using things like the adaptive cruise control or the Super Cruise. And then you see your tachometer on the left hand side. It also goes to a very minimalistic view, which I'm not one for this, especially if I'm on a road trip. I want to see as much information as possible. So this is typically what I have, and with something like the tire PSI on the left hand side there. Then we get over to the infotainment screen, and I am just loving this thing. It is big, it is bright, and this time we get Apple CarPlay, unlike we didn't have in the Equinox EV. So thankfully this still has it, and hopefully we will still continue to have it, because we're highly considering upgrading from our Trailblazer to this, because it's just more space and it's been really nice vehicle, but it's crucial for us to have Apple CarPlay. Then on the left hand side here, we have our controls for our light. So yeah, you're able to kind of turn on the light. It's set to auto. That's pretty much where it's been. It's pretty good, so nothing to really complain about it in this vehicle. So it's nice. I like it. And then up here we have all these different little shortcuts that you can customize. I haven't touched them because these were pretty good. Yeah, Apple CarPlay right there. And I want to show you guys the camera system, because this thing has been so nice to make sure that I back up, because I have my wife's car, as you can see right there, parked in our driveway, and this is a pretty wide vehicle. So I was basically using, so we have the front view, which is nice. We have the overhead, which is nice because I want to make sure that I can back up into the driveway and make sure that I'm not obstructing the sidewalk. So that has been nice. But this has been so nice. This has been my favorite, where I can make sure that my tire isn't on the grass. Now that's for the front wheel, as you guys can see me moving, but I can also press for the rear, which is basically what I've been on. So obviously we're backing up, we have standard, we have the overhead to make sure that we don't hit the garage door. And then hopefully soon, oh, sorry, I actually pressed the power button up here. But yeah, maybe we can get this and tow my Miata so I'm able to kind of hook up the hitch there easily. But this has been what I've been using the most, which is the side view for the rear. So it's not the clearest. It's a little bit distorted because it's still using a picture that's zoomed in from the front cameras on the mirrors, but it's been great. It's been enough that I need, and at night has been enough. So I'm able to make sure that my tire is just on the edge of the driveway and not on the grass, because my wife would kill me if I ran over the grass. And yeah, but it's been awesome, and that's enough to give my passengers space to get out. But this camera system has been great, loving it, super clear, the HD surround system. It's just been, yeah, must have done something right, Chevy, and you guys definitely did with that camera system. And then we come down to the AC controls, and they're pretty good. I haven't had any issues with it. It's just very simple, straightforward. Now the thing is, they're pretty good because I haven't really needed to use them on here, other than, yes, the venting or the heated seats there, which I'll blast that right now. And that is because we still thankfully have some hard buttons. So yes, we have the knobs so we can change the temperature on there, which is nice. And then we have on, off, auto, you know, the fan speeds, defrosting. So it's nice that we have that there. Then we come a little bit lower. Oh, you guys kind of saw my secret. But we have the USB-C, we have USB-A, and we have a 12-volt adapter right in there. And yes, we also have a wireless charging pad right there. So we are going to do the chuck test. And guess what? We don't really need to put too much effort. Well, that was pretty bad on my end. It's like plinko, I forget the name of it, but you just kind of slide it in and it's good to go. It's going to charge. Yeah. So it's nice that we are getting some charging. We are getting some wireless charging, which has been great. I haven't had any complaints, any issues with it. My wife has been able to charge. So loving the fact that we have a great system where we're having gravity kind of do its thing and put pressure and add the angle right in there. So loving that. We come back a little bit more. We have the cup holders, which have been great for Texas sized cups. No issues with that. Smaller cups, the grips have been really good. Not too hard like some of other Chevy vehicles that I've experienced. So I guess, I don't know if they're broken in, but they are working really nice. And we have a good gap in between to make sure that we have enough space for those bigger cups. We come back a little bit. Yes, we do get a little bit of piano black, but not to worry. It's not too reflective. You know, it's in a position that it wouldn't catch the sun, or we actually didn't experience it. Then again, though, we don't really have a sunroof in this model, so that could be a possibility. But we opened this up, and yeah, nice little cubby, just in case you just want to put something small in there, so it's not a big deal. And then my wife goes, "Oh, did you know that there's actually space on here?" And there is. It's not too much, not too big, but there is still some space underneath, which is a nice touch. You know, always little storage places, especially if you're taking this out on a road trip. Then we get to the armrest, and the armrest is really nice. It's been such a sweet spot for me to just kind of relax my arm. The material is nice and soft. We have a little bit of grayish stitching, or lighter stitching than maybe black on there. And we open this up, and we have a nice little cubby area there. We have my race box right in there. Oh, I guess we have a little mat. I have my race box in there, and there is a little light, which is nice to make sure that we illuminate whatever is in there. But yeah, I haven't had any complaints with the storage, so it's been pretty good, and that's what you get in the front. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention the mirror. Yeah, this has been really nice to have because I can actually position the mirror to see everyone inside, but when I do that, I can actually see what's going on outside. I've been loving this camera system for the rear view mirror. It's nice and clear. At night has been spectacular to tame those super bright lights that we get here in Texas. And it's just been a really, really great experience. Loving this thing. The frame rate is nice and smooth, no weird things, no thing that can kind of get you dizzy or anything like that, like I have in the past with other vehicles. So loving that, because again, I just do that and I can see everyone inside that I need to see, the kiddo, and then I can see the basically out of my rear view camera, which actually shows me 3 lanes. I've been able to, that's how wide it is. So really loving that. We get to the back door and it's nice. I mean, we have pretty much the same thing. Surprisingly though, usually with the back doors of vehicles, you get a more durable plastic, aka cheaper plastic, but not with this. We still get that soft, nice material with the nice grippy texture we have there. And unfortunately though, we don't get that carbon fiber trim. So that's where we get the more durable plastic here. Then we have, you know, just a little storage area there. And then we have an area for water bottles, which is a pretty good deep size right in there. So not too bad. Then we have the Bose system, which has been sounding really nice, blasting our tunes, loving this thing. In the second row, we continue with the nice seating, which is just really comfortable, loving this look to them. Again, yes, I know it's white. Usually I don't like them, but they have such a great classy feel to it. And we also get the heated option. So here it is a 3 climate zone. So we have the front, and then we have the front 2, and then we have the rear climate option there with the heated option, and 2 USB-Cs and 12 volt right down there. So yeah, we do get a good amount of amenities for your rear passengers. And with this being the captain's chair or captain row's chairs, yeah, we have nice little armrest that can retract, and we have the latching system for kid seats, which I'll have to explain what's gonna go in the third row, because you're not gonna get these in the third row. You are going to get only the tethering option in the third row. So just kind of be aware of that. If you get a Traverse and you're needing to have those tether options like I do with my kid's booster seat, you can only have it in the captain's chairs, not in the back. But thankfully the height for him is good to be able to be in the back without the booster seat. His seatbelt basically latches on in a good angle. But yeah, we get the seat here. Now if you want to go into the back, we can go ahead and just press that, and that moves over. So yeah, it moves out of the way, and then we can go ahead and actually just hop in to the third row, which let's go ahead and do it, because it's actually pretty easy to get in. It's such a big opening, and I want to show you guys. Typically I don't get into third row seats or even back seats, but there's just so much space back here. Yeah, I'm 5'6", 5'7", and I feel pretty comfortable back here. And I do have the 2 cup holders here, which my kiddo has his glasses, and nice little armrest that you can just kind of lean on. And we also have USB-C connection right in there, which is good. And then obviously if I want to get out, it's actually not too bad to go out through the middle, but I can just go ahead and press here, moves that forward, and I am out. It's that easy. And then you also have the option that you can put the seat back, and then if you just pull on this handle, it goes flat. And now I am able to also put these back seats flat. For literally this whole area would be flat, and I'm able to put, I don't know, something, a big box or big set of boxes or something. Hell, maybe plywood, not maybe a whole sheet, but maybe half a sheet. But yeah, you do get a lot of space back here. We take the Traverse for a drive, and a couple of things. One thing I did notice, and again, this is after having it for a week, so it's a little bit more comprehensive than what I did literally half a day when I did the media drive. So one thing I did notice is first gear, it's a little bit on the long side. It is a little bit on the long side. So when I accelerate from a stop and I just kind of give it a little bit, it has to really rev up to kind of get it to second gear. So yeah, I noticed that. Let's see if you guys can catch it, but I'm just going to put just kind of normal amount of throttle input. And yeah, it does have to kind of wind up a bit. After that though, I mean, that's not really anything to complain, but it is going to need to kind of rev up a bit. So just kind of be aware of that to really kind of get this big guy going from that 2.5 liter turbo engine. But other than that though, the drivability is smooth. I was loving the Z71 when I was driving it, and I was loving the RS, but I think this is really kind of a sweet spot for a long cruiser. Now the Z71 is cool. I love that because yeah, you get the you know, off-road tires and wheel package, which looks cool. You know, we do have the protection underneath. We get all the off-road goodies kind of thing. But the RS is, you know, sporty, and I think sometimes might have been a little sporty. And this is just such a sweet spot. It really is, because you still get a fairly sporty suspension because you still kind of feel the road, but it's still soft enough that the things you don't really want to feel are getting absorbed really nice. So this, as a just cross-country touring, yeah, a tourer, so to speak, it's really good. I like the way that this feels as far as suspension. Oh yeah, and that Super Cruise, it's gonna make your life way easier when you're having to drive for hours and hours on a road, you know, on a highway that is just maybe just plain old straight, and you don't want to have to constantly be doing micro adjustments. Let the system do it for you. And even in curved roads and, you know, highways that I drove, this thing was incredible at you know, just kind of following the line, staying in its lane, and then not staying in its lane in the sense that it has the auto lane change, which was awesome. You know, it's just let it do its thing, and I didn't feel scared at any moment. I was very confident in the system. So that's a lot to say, because as someone that is a driver, someone that likes to, you know, have a manual car, have, you know, kind of that driver's feel of being in control, this made it easy for me to just literally let go. So if you can get it with the Super Cruise, and yeah, this high country trim, it just looks nice, it feels nice, and yeah, it's a great package. So let me go ahead and switch it over to sport mode. So we are in sport mode. I can feel the downshifts already. Now, the only thing I'm kind of disappointed in, yes, we have paddle shifters, but unfortunately, you can't control the gears. Yeah, makes no sense. Let me go ahead and hit the brakes and take this turn, which you will definitely feel the weight of this vehicle. So that's why I'm kind of taking it easy there. But what I mean by, so let me go ahead and accelerate, and the 2.5 isn't too bad. Once you kind of get it going, oh, you just got to make sure you got to get it stopped, because like I said, it definitely feels like a big, heavy vehicle. Yeah, so just kind of be aware of that. Oh, that was a nice little turbo surge, and brakes hard. But the pedal feels good. It's just, you're gonna need to put in a good amount of input. And this is the front wheel drive model as well, so we aren't getting too much rotation like we would in, say, the all-wheel drive model. But the other thing is, we can kind of get these wheels spinning a bit. So that's that was pretty impressive with the power that we get with this 2.5 turbo. So back to the transmission. You can't shift gears because it is for the limiting mode. So you have the L option, and it's basically you limit the highest gear you want it to go to. So that's what the paddle shifters are for, not to downshift or upshift manually. It's to set the limiting gear you want it to have. Kind of a shame, yeah, because there were points where I wanted to engine brake a little bit to ease up off of the brakes and not give it too much. In maybe slight, not emergency situations, but in a better situation, a downshift would have been nice to have. But let's go ahead and let's see how we do with the 3-point stop. We'll drop a wheel a little bit there. We'll go ahead and turn the wheel hard. Yeah, the suspension feels, the wheel feels a little bit stiffer now. And then we'll go ahead and, yeah, we'll pop it in reverse with the steering column shifter, which I've been loving. I've been loving with the Equinox EV that we had earlier. Yeah, I've been kind of loving it. So we'll kind of cheat a little bit there, give it that. But I can tell you, the turning radius on this, it was really nice as far as getting this thing going and turn to where you want it to go. Parking lots have been a breeze, especially with this camera system. It's just been spectacular. So loving that. Now we've gone ahead and set up our race box. It's our telemetry box to read our 0 to 30, 0 to 60. It's also a drag timer as well as a lap timer. So all in one little device. Great company, great device. And yeah, I'll put my link in the description for maybe a possible little discount. But let's go ahead, and we still have the Traverse in sport mode. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is just mash on the gas pedal because you can't kind of brake boost this because it's going to recognize or think that you're essentially holding both, and then when you let off the brake, it's going to just kind of go, yeah, like that. So let's go ahead and see if I can time this well. And brake. So let's talk times. We have 0 to 30 in 2.98 seconds and 0 to 60 in 7.62 seconds. So that seems about right, which isn't too bad considering this is a big heavy vehicle and we are in a 4-cylinder, which I know everyone is gonna hate on. Oh, we should have had the V6, but I don't mind the 4-cylinder turbo. It's got its good power. I think just that first gear kind of situation is where it will lack a little bit of like oomph or just needing a good amount of rev. And yeah, you'll kind of feel it a little bit more with the all-wheel drive system. But once it kind of gets going, it's got momentum going for it. And yeah, momentum in the turns is kind of a little harsh there to kind of manage. But again, you're really not going to be taking a vehicle like this to go on spirited drives. You're just going to use it for family hauling, road trips, things like that. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and switch it back to normal mode and be civilized. Be a civilized driver. And yeah, but you know, it's kind of fun to push it to its limits there. But as an everyday cruiser and just, you know, errand runner and people hauler, this is really good. Like, this is really good. So if you, like myself, are starting to kind of outgrow maybe a CUV, like our Trailblazer, this is a big contender because I'm wanting to go a little bit bigger. The 3 rows is nice. It's not always needed. So the fact that we can put it down, actually the fact that we could still leave the seats up and we still have a good amount of space for a quick grocery run is really nice. Like, my bag is usually not able to fit in 3-row SUVs with the 3rd row up, but it does in this. So, and then the 3rd row, my kiddo was able to sit comfortably. You know, just had to tell my parents, hey, move the seat just a little bit because he's getting big. But other than that, he was fitting well. Yeah, I think this is just the, and again, if you don't want to go Tahoe, because that does definitely increase in size, or even Suburban, it really increases inside. This is a nice, good mid-size. Yeah, I can't believe a 3rd row is now considered mid-size, but it's a good mid-size SUV. It's a great mid-size SUV. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Traverse High Country. And remember, find the right gear. See ya.